Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers national parks, historical objects, and the Chattahoochee River, and comes to us from Depths of History's channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. Before we dive into the interaction, I want to give a big thanks to the sponsor of this episode, Surfshark. Surfshark is a premier VPN service that offers unparalleled digital security for a fraction of the price of other competitors. Surfshark offers its users one of the most secure VPN tunnels on the market with absolutely no data logs, so not even Surfshark employees can see what you're doing online. A Surfshark subscription is totally unlimited, which means that you can use it on as many devices as you like, and even on all of them at once. No other VPN service offers that much accessibility. One of the many perks of a Surfshark subscription is that it allows you to bypass region restrictions on popular platforms like YouTube and Netflix and view content that is not normally available in your country. Right now, Surfshark is offering the ATA community an 83% discount with an additional 3 months completely free. With 24-hour customer service and a 30-day money-back guarantee, you have absolutely nothing to lose. So click the link in the description to claim your exclusive offer now. Thanks again to Surfshark for sponsoring this episode. In a video posted on March 6, 2021, scuba diver and YouTuber Britton Lockhart found a gun while scuba diving in the Chattahoochee River National Recreation Area, which is located in northern Georgia, and removed it from the river. After Mr. Lockhart called the police to retrieve the gun, an unidentified United States park ranger approached Mr. Lockhart to confront him about his diving activities.
Diving again?
Yes, ma'am. That's a picture over there from what I've been told.
But remember I talked to you before about this.
But
the water is part of Chattahoochee River National Recreation Area. It's federal property. It's managed by the Department of Interior, National Park Service.
But you're telling me by finding a gun, you don't want people going in here and finding firearms and giving them back and collecting trash?
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is,
I collect trash. I'm not taking anything else out of here besides trash. I'm literally just cleaning up trash.
You have a driver's license on you?
I do.
All right.
Enjoyed what I do.
I've seen some of your videos, and I've seen you removing some things from the park.
I haven't removed anything from the park.
Okay. You put everything back?
Put everything back.
Yeah. I'll take a picture of it so I don't. Is everything on there correct?
Yes, sir.
The ranger claims to have seen Mr. Lockhart's videos, and that in these videos she has seen him remove things from the park. However, Mr. Lockhart states that he has not removed anything from the park. While a video that Mr. Lockhart posted on his YouTube channel on February 28, 2021 shows Mr. Lockhart removing several guns from the river and reporting them to the police, it does not show him taking the guns out of the park. The ranger also requests Mr. Lockhart's ID, which he provides to her without protest. As federal law enforcement officers, United States park rangers are generally authorized to enforce federal laws, as well as the laws of the state where the park is located. And Section 102701 of Title 54 of the United States Code permits rangers to, quote, conduct investigations of offenses against the United States committed in the system in the absence of investigation of the offenses by any other federal law enforcement agency having investigative jurisdiction over the offense committed or with the concurrence of the other agency. While the federal statutory law does not explicitly empower rangers to request identification from the subjects of investigations, it is well within their scope of authority to ask individuals to provide identification on a voluntary basis, just like officers can generally request that a citizen consent to a search or answer questions during a consensual encounter. However, since neither Georgia nor federal law criminalizes an individual's refusal to identify themselves to law enforcement, Mr. Lockhart could not have been arrested if he had refused to identify himself to the ranger or provide identification, and a court likely would conclude that he was within his rights to do so.
As far as I'm concerned, it's a public waterway. Anybody's allowed to go.
Yeah, you can go in there and recreate. Did you have a dive flag?
We did.
Yeah?
Yeah, we do. We have it right by the car.
It was inside of your vehicle, outside, inside the water?
Yeah, it was inside the water.
Okay. Yeah. Because I've seen some videos where you didn't have a dive flag.
Yes, ma'am, and we recently found out that rule changed, and each one of us now have a dive flag.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm not trying. I promise you, I'm just trying to find trash, take it out of the river, throw it away.
Well, here's the thing. Sometimes you find things that are not trash. Sometimes you find things that are of historical value. That's a problem. You understand?
From in which area? Because I haven't found anything historical over here. Okay. It may have been Holcomb Bridge Park or something, but not National Park.
Which again is part of Chattahoochee River. Holcomb Bridge Park is not part of the Chattahoochee River National Recreation Area, but the waterway is.
that doesn't make any sense because the waterway is public.
Here's the thing. So if we're patrolling and we're on the river and we see somebody who's floating the river and they don't have a life jacket, we are legally allowed to stop them and cite them for not having a life jacket. Okay? It's part of Chattahoochee River National Recreation Area. The land is not. The river is.
But you're saying by going in the river and removing trash out of the river that is illegal.
What I'm saying is that there's a risk of you finding something of historical value.
Okay.
Okay? Moving that from the river is illegal.
But we didn't remove anything of historical value.
How are we supposed to know this?
How is well, scuba diving's not illegal.
I didn't say it was. I didn't say it was.
But I just don't understand what's going on because
The ranger argues that when Mr. Lockhart and his diving companions remove objects from the river, there is always the risk of an item of historical significance being destroyed or damaged by its improper removal, even if the object originally appears to be trash. There are many legal restrictions in place that limit the types of objects that can be gathered or removed from a national park. For example, Section 2.1 of Title 36 of the Code of Federal Regulations prohibits, quote, possessing, destroying, injuring, defacing, removing, digging, or disturbing from its natural state living or dead wildlife or fish, or the parts or products thereof, such as antlers or nests, plants, or the parts or products thereof, non-fossilized and fossilized paleontological specimens, cultural or archaeological resources, or the parts thereof, or a mineral resource or cave formation, or the parts thereof. The same section of the code forbids park visitors from, quote, possessing, destroying, injuring, defacing, removing, digging, or disturbing a structure or its furnishing or fixtures, or other cultural or archaeological resources. While the officers in charge of a park area are permitted to designate natural products, such as fruits, berries, nuts, or unoccupied seashells, that may be gathered by hand for personal use, they also have the authority to limit the size and quantity of the natural products that may be gathered, or the location where natural products may be collected. Even when park officials allow certain natural products to be gathered, they can prohibit their removal from the park area. And Section 2.1 prohibits, quote, gathering or possessing undesignated natural products, gathering or possessing natural products in violation of the size or quantity limits, unauthorized removal of natural products from the park area, gathering natural products outside of designated areas, and the sale or commercial use of natural products. While it does not appear that the gun Mr. Lockhart removed on the day of the interaction would fall into any of the prohibited categories, the park ranger's concerns make sense given the broad range of objects that cannot be removed from or disturbed in the park under federal law.
So what would you advise me in the future?
I would advise you in the future to contact the park saying, hey, this is what I would like to do. And then we can assess, see if there's any historical value, if anything going on, and they may require somebody to monitor, so when you bring something out, we can take a look at it.
Yes, ma'am.
That is something that you might want to consider doing, so we don't keep running into the same thing over and over again.
No, I completely understand. As for, because when I've been doing this, I've found over 70 guns, handing them to the police. I've been very nice with several different people, like taking trash out of the river. I just I don't want to have any problems. That's the number one thing with me. I don't want to have any problems.
I understand that.
So it's just I don't understand. It just makes me emotional because I'm like, if even if historical artifacts are in the river, why aren't you guys taking them out?
Because we leave them where they are.
Why would you leave them where they are? That's rotting away history.
Well, you know what?
That's history rotting away.
That's part of the policy.
That's history rotting away, though. You guys should get that up and turn it into museums and
you know what you can do
stuff like
is
that.
Notify our superintendent and let her know that you have a problem with that.
I just don't understand. I just want to get trash out. I'm trying to do the right thing.
I understand. And like I said, places like Holcomb Bridge, that's not our property.
So that's not park property, so that's okay.
Physically, the land is not ours, but the water is. We still patrol the water.
Okay, but I thought the waterways are public. That's what I was told.
It's part of the federal land. It's part of Chattahoochee River National Recreation Area.
Do you have writing that says that?
Yeah, you can even go on our website.
Okay. I'll have to look at that because I don't think that's right. But
Mr. Lockhart and the park ranger respectfully debate the jurisdictional authority of the National Park Service on the Chattahoochee River, and the ranger asserts that the service maintains authority over the waters, even when surrounding parkland is not under federal jurisdiction. Section 460 II of Title 16 of the United States Code designates the area included in the Chattahoochee River National Recreation Area as, quote, a 48-mile segment of the Chattahoochee River and certain adjoining lands in the state of Georgia, from Buford Dam downstream to Peachtree Creek. And Section 460 II-2 grants the Secretary of the Interior the authority to administer, protect, and develop the recreation area. Section 100501 of Title 54 of the United States Code includes any area of land and water administered by the Secretary of the Interior as part of the National Park System, which subjects the park areas to federal regulations. Under the relevant legal provisions, all 48 miles of the river waters are included in the Chattahoochee River National Recreation Area, but only some of the adjoining lands are under federal jurisdiction. One of the areas that Mr. Lockhart and the ranger discuss is Holcomb Bridge Park, which is a local park in Gwinnett County, Georgia that is located on the Chattahoochee. Even though the parkland itself is not under federal jurisdiction, because the portion of the Chattahoochee River in the park area falls within the 48-mile stretch of federal land included in the Chattahoochee River National Recreation Area, federal regulations still apply to the waters. While the ranger is correct in arguing that the National Park Service has jurisdiction over the waters within the National Recreation Area, it's important to note that these federal rivers are open to the public, which seems to be a point of confusion for Mr. Lockhart. Even though the federal portions of the Chattahoochee River are open for public use, they are still subject to federal regulations.
You're telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about?
I just don't think.
Okay.
I just don't think that it's right because it's a public waterway.
That is within the National Park Service jurisdictional boundary.
The park is different from the river.
You know what? I'm not going to continue arguing this either.
Okay, but we're still allowed to pick up trash.
Trash is, that's something else.
I mean, obvious
yes.
trash.
Trash, yes.
Okay.
You find a gun, cool, great. You turn it in. But the thing is that you never know what you're going to find. If you find something of historical value, that becomes a problem. When you remove it from the river, you're removing it, the context, we can't get that back.
When would you guys ever do that, though? Because it's just rotting there.
I am not one of the resource people.
Okay.
I don't do
So
that.
we can find it, document it, tell you guys, and then we'll be done with it.
Yeah, and put it back, tell us.
But then that'll be there for another 20 years and it'll be rusted again.
Maybe.
It just doesn't seem right.
Another thing to consider is you
right.
told me you found a bomb, right?
That was the mortar that we found before.
So it's something that can be dangerous to you and others around you, right? That's something.
Most
that's
definitely.
a
No,
problem.
100%.
So we have an example there of things that you can find that you don't want to find.
Most definitely. For sure.
Just something to consider.
Yeah,
I'll be looking for the national park.
Yep.
I'll be looking for the national park boundaries, and anywhere that's not in that national park boundary, I'm going to be diving.
Okay, and that's below Peachtree Corners.
Perfect.
That's
that
not our
sounds
property.
good. All right.
All right.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
After clarifying the boundaries of the federal portion of the Chattahoochee River, Mr. Lockhart tells the ranger that he will review the applicable laws, and the two cordially thanked each other as Mr. Lockhart left the scene without further incident. Overall, the National Park Service ranger gets a B+, because although her overall tone and approach could certainly be improved, she remained within the bounds of her authority throughout the interaction and provided Mr. Lockhart with accurate information regarding the federal regulation of the Chattahoochee River. Many of the points that the ranger made were valid concerns that were supported by federal law, and she was correct in pointing out that scuba diving in waterways that have the potential to hold irreplaceable historical artifacts has the potential to damage or destroy these irreplaceable pieces of history. The Chattahoochee River once served as a diving boundary between the Creek and Cherokee Native American tribes, but throughout the 1820s, the tribes were removed by incoming American settlers, so the Chattahoochee likely holds many relics from those tribes that would require expert removal upon discovery. As mentioned before, removing almost any item from the park boundaries is against federal law, regardless of whether or not it holds historical significance. But the damage caused by unintentionally destroying precious artifacts extends far beyond jurisdiction of the law. While I do appreciate and empathize with the ranger's concerns, the manner in which she expressed those concerns to Mr. Lockhart was both unprofessional and poorly articulated. If the ranger had simply explained to Mr. Lockhart that federally owned land is open to the public, then he may have understood her points more clearly, and much of the miscommunication regarding this interaction could have been resolved by making this distinction. Instead of engaging in a verbal debate with Mr. Lockhart, the ranger could have taken a less authoritative approach and encouraged Mr. Lockhart to enjoy the park's facilities in a safe and respectable manner. Mr. Lockhart also gets a B+, because although it is clear that he was mistaken about the jurisdiction of the park ranger, and he willfully surrendered his ID despite not having committed a crime, he challenged the legitimacy of the ranger's assertions and remained calm and collected throughout the encounter. As mentioned before, many aspects of this interaction boiled down to a miscommunication regarding public access to federal property, and it is difficult to fault Mr. Lockhart for not understanding this fact given the ranger's poor explanation. Although Mr. Lockhart's knowledge regarding the federal code was somewhat lacking, the ranger's failure to provide clarity on the topic only served to exacerbate the hostility of the interaction. Mr. Lockhart originally called the police in hopes of doing the right thing, but he found himself in a situation where he was forced to defend his actions to the police instead. This likely instilled a sense of betrayal and distrust for the officers, and evidently discouraged Mr. Lockhart from enjoying the river. This stop is a testament to how an officer's demeanor can dictate the tone and resolution of any interaction with members of the public. And while the National Parks Ranger did make valid points and suggestions, her boorish and unprofessional approach overshadowed her lawful intentions. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Also, be sure to check out my second channel, where I will be covering encounters and stories that didn't make the cut for this channel and offering even more police interaction content.